Today, I've got something fun to share with you, and it's one of those things that can make a big difference in your online course business. So make sure you listen in and catch all of today's ideas. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here is your host, Julie Hood.
So today's episode is actually some content that's repurposed from 20 years ago. Can you believe that? I can't believe that. But I went back and I looked at something I did on my very, very first website. I was like, you know what? That's pretty good. It needs a little tweaking, but I think this is pretty good. So I went back and I had done these 6 rules that I had shared with my audience back then of things that I thought would help them, things that could, if you could put them all in place, it would make your business work so much better. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, you know what? These will also still fit for my course creators. So, but I added one. I'm going to make it 7 so that you can, there's one more that I didn't think about back then. So jot these down or check the show notes. They're going to be in the show notes. I'm going to be talking about them more because I think there's a lot of gold here that can help you with your business, that can kind of move the needle forward if you dig in a little deeper. So today's just going to be the high level of the 7 rules, and then I will be pulling them out periodically to help you. So, rule number 1 of the Course Creators 7 rules. The first one is work with yourself and not against yourself. And what I mean by this is spending some time really paying attention to your personality and what works for you. So, I get really frustrated sometimes when experts will be like, this is the only way you can do this. My way is the only way that will work. And you have to do this. You have to pay all this money and sign up with me because my way is the only way. And I'm sure you all know, I'm very much in the space of saying, you have to figure out what's going to work for you. There's lots of different paths, so you get to decide. So do what feels right, what appeals to you, not what seems to be this latest expert's space or latest person's idea. Number 2 is I want you to focus and pay attention. So when possible, do one thing at a time, or if you are multitasking, make sure it's the right things to be multitasking, like watching TV and folding laundry. Those kinds of things can be done at the same time. But picture the goal in your mind, where you're headed, keeping yourself focused, whatever that looks like for you. So, for me, it's my daily pages that I write out what the day's going to look like. That's what helps me stay focused and make sure I get the right stuff done. So you'll have to figure out what's that look like for you. What's your focusing system to keep you on task and make sure you're doing the right things. So that's rule number 2, focus and pay attention. Rule number 3 is investing your time. Invest your time. And I really love this one. I think this is one of those big game changers in that you want to be not only paying attention to how you're spending your time, but making sure that when you are working on something that you're investing a block of time so that it will save you hours of frustration later. So I'll give you an example. It's kind of a personal example, but I think it makes so much sense. It'll make this clear to you. I, for a long time, put these big baskets on my front porch. So I'd have these 4 big baskets full of flowers on the porch. And trying to keep them watered in St. Louis summers was a huge headache. So every day I'd have to go out, it'd probably be at least a 20-minute project of getting the hose out, getting them watered, getting each one giving it enough water. And then one year I was like, you know what? I am going to hook up a watering system from the ceiling down the plant hangers with hoses, and I put it on a timer. And so what would happen is every day the watering system would come on, the hoses would send the water, the 4 baskets would get this wonderful drink of water, and my flowers looked the best they ever looked because it didn't require me to be watering every day. But in order to set that up, that system to set that up, it probably took me a couple hours to set aside to be like, okay, I got to go out and get this all hooked up and get all the hoses, because there were attachments that you need to have, and make it all work. Future years were faster because it was all set up, but that first year it took me quite a bit. But I invested that time initially to set everything up, get the hooks in place, get everything going. And then the amount of time it saved me going forward was huge. Plus, my flowers just looked better. It was better than my manual system. So I want you to think about, are there places where you can invest your time to create things, create systems, create processes, create courses, for heaven's sake, that will pay off for you going forward? So that's number 3, invest your time. Number 4 is create habits and routines. And I know sometimes people cringe when they hear this one. They don't want to have routines or have to do the same thing. This was a big one for my mom. And so I fought this one really hard because, you didn't mess with her routines. And I finally realized, after I got past it a bit, that not only was she smarter than me for having all these routines, her life was a lot less stressful. Because instead of having this thing popping up every day on her head, like let's say I didn't have a routine for this podcast, that I just did it when I felt like it. So every day I'd have this thought of, oh, wow, am I going to do the podcast today? If I am, when am I going to do it? Or wait, I don't have time. When could I do it? What am I going to talk about? Just a whole lot of wasted energy around every day not having a routine. Instead, I have a routine of Tuesdays and Wednesdays are when I work on the podcast, with the intention of getting it out on a Wednesday. And so I have to have the idea. So all I have to think about before that is, what am I going to talk about? And then on the Tuesday or Wednesday, finding the exact time that it's going to happen. But you can see that's so much less stress and brain power wasted. So create those habits and routines, tie them to things that you can eliminate the extra thoughts and the wasted brain power when you don't have a habit or a routine. Number 5, and this is a big one, I want you to use the right tools. And I want you to get the most tools that you can afford. So I remember when I first started online way back in the day, we had gone from 2 incomes down to 1, and I was in that place of, how can I do this inexpensively? But now I've advanced a little bit more. I'm at the place where I can spend more on tools. And so I get those tools that are going to save me time, those ones that are going to help me get something done faster, quicker, better, give my students a better experience. So use the right tools, which is, the best ones you can afford, and use just enough technology. This is kind of a part B of using the right tools. And so this using enough technology means, for example, right now I'm using Audacity for this podcast, and it does all kinds of stuff. But I know the 5 things that I need Audacity to do for me, and I learned how to do those, and then I stopped. And if I ever need something else, I'll go look. But I didn't spend the time to try to understand how the whole tool works and learn everything and become a Audacity expert. I use just enough technology to get what I need, which is the podcast episode recorded for you and exported out and edited, a little bit of editing. So use the right tools and use just enough technology to make your life better. Number 6, and this is one that you might shudder a little bit, but I realized I needed to tell this to myself also. Number 6 is do the homework. So for all the courses and all the coaching and all the things that we jump into, are we actually doing the homework, doing the lessons, doing the great advice and taking it from these experts and actually implementing it? So are we doing the homework? And I can think of probably 3 different courses I just purchased that I have not done that would be really, really helpful right now. So I'm telling myself this one, do the homework. And it's kind of a double thing because make sure that if you're in a program and you're like, yeah, this isn't working, are you sure it's because it doesn't work, or is it because you maybe aren't being able to give 100% to the course, to attending the calls and doing the homework and that kind of thing? Just be honest with yourself about that. So instead of, oh, this course doesn't work, it's, yeah, I'm not exactly doing what I need to be doing to get the results out of this. So I'm with you on this one. I get it. It happens, but we'll just do better going forward and make sure we do the homework. And then number 7, the last rule for the successful course creator is I want you to save all of your ideas. So pick a methodology that you can use to have a place to put all those ideas, and preferably one type of place. So, if you're going to do something, if you have an iPhone, you're going to do it in Notes on your iPhone, and then you can have the notes on your Mac computer. Have it so you've got digital and you've got something on your phone and it's easily accessible. So you may have to experiment a bit. You could even have 2 slightly different, like you've got one place on your computer and one place on your phone, but it's better if they can be the same so you can group everything together. One of the tools that I am loving for this right now is called Good Day, and it's at goodday.work. I believe that's the link. I'll put it in the show notes. And you can use it as, it's like a task master, project manager, but it's a great place to take notes. So I have a whole project that's just notes on podcast ideas. So save all those ideas. We can't implement them all at the same time. We shouldn't even try. We need to do one at a time, but don't lose them. They're good inspiration and you can come back to them later. And I do that a ton. Like I'm going back, I'm looking at something that I was talking about 6 months ago. And I thought, now is the time. This one's coming to the top of the list and I'm going to jump in on this. So that's our 7 rules, and I will repeat them for you so you can ingrain them into your mind and have all 7 so that you are ready to go. Number 1 is work with yourself, not against yourself. Number 2 is focus and pay attention. Number 3 is invest your time. 4 is to create habits and routines. 5 is to use the right tools and use just enough technology. Number 6 is to do the homework. And number 7 is to save all of your ideas. So let me know what you think, which one of those you're most excited about, which one you think is the most challenging to implement. I'm super curious. And if that will add some more structure, some more organization, and a little bit more excitement around what you're doing so that you've got more time to get to everything. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening. I totally appreciate the fact that I have this space in your earbuds, the fact that you are a listener, a follower, subscriber, reviewer. Y'all are the best, and I so appreciate it. And I hope you have an incredible week. This gives you 1 or 2 things you can add in to make yourself even more efficient and effective and to help your online course business. Take care. Have a wonderful week, and I'll catch you on next week's episode.